Let's cut to it. Subway used to be the safe bet. Cheap-ish, quick, and, most importantly, it sold you the idea of fresh. A warm roll, a pile of crunchy veggies, and a sandwich that felt like I'm eating healthier today. Millions built lunch routines around that promise. Millions learned the jingle. Millions trusted it. But something happened. Slowly at first, then all at once. The thing that made Subway famous, the promise of cheap, fresh sandwiches, quietly broke. And once trust cracks, people don't just grumble. They start walking out and never come back. We start with the money story because money is where loyalty dies fastest. The $5 footlong. The promotion that became a trap. Remember the $5 footlong? That era wasn't marketing fluff. It was identity. Subway plastered that deal on billboards and radio until it was part of the culture. Lunches were planned around it. College students, shift workers, budget families, they all relied on that simple math. $5 equals full stomach. But behind the counter, it was a different ledger. Franchisees were quietly telling a horror story. You can sell a ton of sandwiches and still lose money. Meat, cheese, labor, rent, the costs add up. If the sandwich costs you $5.50 to produce, and you sell it for $5, you've invented a money pit, not a promo. So corporate and franchisees started tussling. Customers saw prices quietly rise. $5 turned into $8, $9. No farewell trumpet, no we're sorry ad, just shock at the register. It's an old marketing sin. Promise the moon, take it away without explanation, then expect forgiveness. People felt cheated. They weren't mad about $10. They were mad that the brand they budgeted with had broken a promise. That's where the first cracks show. Once someone gets burned by price deception, they start scanning for other betrayals. Fresh bread, more like reheated myth. Subway's ads shouted fresh bread baked daily. It's a clean, winning image. Except the reality in many stores looks more like a thaw and reheat operation. Frozen dough shipped from a warehouse, thawed overnight, popped into small convection ovens. Not horrible, but not what your mind imagines when you hear fresh baked. The result? Bread that's soft and a little lifeless. No flaky crust, no bakery aroma. Just a spongy roll that doesn't fight back against wet toppings or melted cheese. When your sandwich base collapses, everything else suffers. Customers started noticing. They compared memories. This tasted better 5 years ago. Small disappointment, repeat it enough times, and it becomes disillusionment. And then the yoga mat headline happened. The chemical scare that turned a tiny rumor into a PR crisis. Even though Subway later removed the ingredient, the damage was psychological. Once people hear, this bread is chemically weird, the mental image sticks. Trust isn't rebuilt with a press release. The meat problem. Water, weight, and deception. Here's a grim trick from the food industry playbook that Subway didn't escape. Some meat gets pumped with saline or solutions to increase weight. That means you're paying for water weight, not protein. It's legal in some products, but it feels like a bait and switch. Customers expect a generous layer of turkey or chicken. Instead, they get something that's bulkier by volume but lighter on substance. That's not value. It's cosmetic. Social media loved this. Videos showing thin strips, watery cuts, where's the meat? Commentary. When your product's substance visibly shrinks, people notice and they start questioning everything else on the menu. Veggies that give up early. Subway built a reputation on the salad bar spectacle. Piles of bright lettuce, cherry tomatoes, crisp peppers. But the reality in many outlets devolved into rubbery lettuce and sad, watery tomatoes. Produce is delicate and needs tight supply chains and fast turnover. If the store runs on frozen dough and long staff queues, produce freshness becomes the casualty. Customers began posting photos, limp lettuce, soggy tomatoes, tubs of slaw that looked like they'd been reheated and regretted it. For a brand that sold fresh, this was a branding hemorrhage. People don't come back for soggy crunch. Trust is a compound interest. You lose it. Slowly, regain it never. Here's the painful math. Trust compounds like interest. Every good experience deposits credit. Every broken promise withdraws it. And withdrawals are quicker and louder. A $5 gone wrong, a limp roll, watered meat, wilted veg, they add up. Social media amplifies it. One bad sandwich becomes dozens of complaints, then think pieces, then news segments. And people don't just grumble online, they vote with their feet. They find Chipotle for bigger flavors, Jersey Mike's for heftier meats, Panera for a real food atmosphere. The market is full of alternatives that do one or two things better than Subway. And customers don't forgive mediocrity when options exist. If price hikes and soggy veggies weren't enough, Subway's reputation took body blows that no Footlong could cover. These weren't minor slip-ups. These were scandals that made late-night comedy monologues and morning news headlines. The yoga mat bread disaster. A food blogger drops a bomb. Subway's bread contains azotocarbonamide, a chemical used in yoga mats and shoe soles. Imagine ordering lunch and finding out your sandwich has more in common with a gym floor than a bakery. The story went viral instantly. Memes exploded. Would you like your bread with extra downward dog? Even late-night hosts roasted it nightly. Yes, Subway eventually phased the chemical out. But here's the thing. Once people associate your bread with yoga mats, you can't unburn that mental image. No marketing slogan can wipe it clean. Customers started looking at their subs and wondering, what else aren't they telling us? Trust, once cracked, doesn't just chip, it shatters. Just when you thought things couldn't get fishier, along came the tuna lawsuits. Multiple customers, and then entire law firms, claimed Subway's tuna salad didn't actually contain tuna. Independent lab tests allegedly found no clear tuna DNA in samples from several stores. Headlines screamed, "Is Subway's tuna even tuna?" It became the kind of meme gold that Twitter feeds devour. Sandwich lovers joked they were eating mystery meat surprise. Subway fought back, insisting the tuna was legit. But perception spread faster than facts. Once the question is planted, what am I really eating? People hesitate before ever ordering that sandwich again. When the word lawsuit and Subway sit in the same sentence for months, customers stop thinking fresh. They think fraud sodium bombs and broken health halo. Remember when Subway marketed itself as the healthy fast food option? Jared's jeans, the low-calorie menu boards, the pitch that you could slim down while still eating out. Then independent tests revealed the truth. Many Subway sandwiches had sodium levels rivaling bags of potato chips. 1 Footlong could pack 2,000 milligrams of salt, your entire daily allowance in a single sitting. Parents who thought they were feeding their kids better felt duped. Health-minded customers realized they might as well have grabbed a cheeseburger and fries. The brand that claimed to be the safe, lighter choice was secretly salting its reputation to death. The spokesperson scandal that shattered trust. And then came the darkest chapter. Subway's longtime face, the guy who was the brand for over 15 years, was convicted on charges so serious, so disturbing, that the headlines alone made people recoil. Subway yanked every ad featuring him, scrubbed his image from stores, and tried to distance themselves overnight. But the damage was already done. Think about it. Your brand identity for over a decade is suddenly associated with criminal behavior that horrified the country. Even after the ads disappeared, the memory lingered. Every commercial break, every sandwich wrapper, every foot-long order reminded people of the scandal. You can reprint menus, you can remodel stores, but you can't remodel public memory. When fresh became a punchline. Add it all up. Yoga mat bread, mystery tuna, sodium bombs, scandalized spokespeople. and Subway's carefully crafted image collapsed into something else entirely, a punchline. Once Eat Fresh became sarcastic shorthand on social media, the brand's marketing had lost all oxygen. Instead of craving a sandwich, people craved the next meme at Subway's expense. And here's the brutal truth. Food brands can recover from bad flavors. They can recover from high prices. But once they become the joke, recovery is almost impossible. You can fix prices, you can swap recipes, but here's what Subway never patched: the people. And no, I don't just mean customers. I mean the employees who run those assembly lines of lettuce and turkey slices. Minimum wage, maximum chaos. Walk into a Subway at noon, and you'll probably find one poor soul trying to serve 20 hangry customers, while the toaster oven beeps like it's calling the fire department. Training? A couple of hours, tops. It's like trying to become a pilot after one YouTube tutorial. The result? Mistakes everywhere. Forgot your cheese? Wrong bread? Extra olives when you begged for none? Welcome to the Subway roulette wheel. Turnover is so high it makes revolving doors look slow. Most new hires quit before they even learn where the pickles are. That's why every visit feels like you're teaching them how to make the sandwich, instead of the other way around. And portion control? Don't even start. Some employees sprinkle lettuce like they're rationing during the Great Depression. Others load it like they're trying to bury treasure under a salad avalanche. Consistency? Non-existent. Franchisees versus corporate, a civil war in bread form. Now, let's talk about the folks who bought into the Subway dream, the franchise owners. For years, Subway pitched the idea like a golden ticket: recognizable brand, proven model, low startup costs. The reality? More like signing a lease where the landlord charges rent, takes your bedroom, and leaves you with the closet. Franchisees pay endless fees, royalties, ad funds, equipment leases. It never stops. And just when an owner thinks they've carved out a customer base, corporate opens another Subway right across the street. It's like planting two apple trees in the same flower pot and being shocked when they both wither. Some owners lost half their business overnight. Others drowned in debt. Lawsuits started flying. Online forums popped up where ex-Subway owners basically formed a support group for broken dreams. Imagine putting your life savings into a store, only to realize you're trapped in a system that bleeds you dry. That's not franchising. That's Franchi squeezing. Competitors smelled blood and feasted. While Subway wrestled with soggy lettuce and civil wars, competitors sharpened their knives. Chipotle said, "What if your burrito actually looked like food?" They flaunted antibiotic-free meats and fresh prep you could watch. Suddenly, Subway looked like the frozen dinner version of healthy. Panera turned into the cafe where you could sip Wi-Fi with your soup. Real ovens, real bread, the anti-Subway flex. Jersey Mike's just piled on meat like they actually wanted you to be full. Side by side, Subway's cold-cut combo looked like it had been through a budget meeting. And Firehouse subs? They went hot, cheesy, and loud. Steaming meat, melted cheese, toasted buns. They made Subway's fresh feel like reheated leftovers. Customers noticed. Delivery app data showed Subway's orders tanking while competitors surged. Younger generations especially, they don't want corporate plastic sandwiches. They want food that's Instagrammable, not memeable. When you're the punchline, you've already lost. That's Subway's biggest wound. They didn't just lose customers, they lost relevance. What once looked like innovation now feels like eating in black and white while the rest of the world is streaming in 4K. And the worst part? Millions of ex-customers didn't storm out in protest. They just quietly stopped showing up. One day, Subway was their routine. The next day, it wasn't. And they never looked back. So how do you kill a giant? Not with one swing, but with 1,000 paper cuts. That's exactly what happened to Subway. First, it was the $5 footlong betrayal, then the bread that tasted like gym mats, Then the tuna scandal, the sodium bombs, the spokesperson nightmare, and the endless cycle of shrinking portions and rising prices. By the time customers looked up, Subway wasn't eat fresh. It was eat, well, whatever this is. The trust exodus. Here's the thing about trust. Once it cracks, it doesn't glue back together. Millions of loyalists didn't rage quit Subway. They just quietly walked away. One day, they drove past their usual Subway and thought, hey, I'll try Jersey Mike's instead. Or Chipotle, or literally anywhere else. And that was it. The habit broke. Subway's biggest weapon wasn't sandwiches, it was routine. People budgeted around it, students lived on it, families relied on it. But when the food got worse, the prices climbed, and the scandals piled up, that routine dissolved overnight. And here's the brutal part. When you lose a generation's trust, you don't just lose lunch today. You lose lunch for decades. The franchise graveyard. The inside story is even uglier. Franchisees, the folks who bet their savings on Subway, got steamrolled. They signed up for proven systems and got corporate sabotage. Competing Subways across the street, rising fees, expensive remodel mandates. And when they cried for help, corporate basically said, work harder or sell. Some walked away bankrupt, others sued. Many just shut their doors for good. Entire communities lost their local Subways, not because the owners failed, but because the system was designed to bleed them dry. The same brand that once bragged about being on every corner is now quietly erasing itself from the map. Competitors ate their lunch. Meanwhile, the competition feasted on Subway's carcass. Chipotle turned fast food into a flex. Panera became the cafe you actually wanted to sit in. Jersey Mike showed you what a real sub should taste like. Firehouse subs? They literally steamed Subway out of relevance. Subway became the punchline. A meme. The "at least it's not Subway" joke. And once your brand becomes shorthand for disappointment, the battle's already lost. So what does this all mean? It means even the mightiest chains can crumble when greed trumps quality. Subway built an empire on simple promises. Cheap, fresh, filling. They broke every single one. Now, they're a cautionary tale. Proof that once you trade trust for short-term profit, you don't just lose customers, you lose generations. Millions have already quit Subway, and they're not coming back. So the next time you see that green and yellow logo flickering on a tired strip mall sign, remember this. Sometimes the scariest thing about fast food isn't the calories. It's the corporations running it. And here at Frugal Pro, we'll keep exposing these stories so you can spend smart, eat smart, and never get played.